Teens Voice Academy, preparing adolescents for a significantly impactful adult life.
Hello, it's good to be back on your screen. My name is 𝐓𝐿, and today we'll be looking at 15 truths every parent must know about raising teenagers in the 21st century. Now, the approach that worked in the 90s, that worked in the 80s, and the 70s, and the 60s definitely won't work in the 21st century. And so it makes sense to know what works today, apply them, and they will give you a better experience in dealing with your teenagers. I've worked with teenagers for more than 20 years of my life. I pastor teenage group. I'm a certified teen coach. And what I'm bringing to you here are not just theories. They are things that I've worked over the years that you can practice. And what I've observed working with teenagers. Number one, the teenager you raise is the adult you would have. I often will tell my teenagers that the teenager you are is the adult you will become. And it's a fundamental principle in the scripture. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. Your teenagers is not suddenly going to metamorphose into a responsible adult if you don't teach them basic skills, life skills, and scriptural principles that will help them become the adult of their dream. Of course, in our other videos, we'll be sharing some other beautiful things about parenting teenagers. But this time around, we're focusing on the 15 truths you need to know about raising a teenager in the 21st century. So number two is teens do what you do, not what you say. Often, we think by the time we give them instruction, then they should know what to do. Beyond dishing out instruction to your teenagers on what they should do, you need to understand that they would follow more on what you do rather than what you say. It's the way their mind are wired. Of course, much later in life, they'll begin to make their own decision based on information and maybe experience, good or bad. But you need to understand that teenagers will do more what you do rather than what you tell them to do. So you can't be a partying parent and say your teenagers should not party. You can't be an alcoholic parent and expect your teenagers not to be. It's unlikely that they won't. You can't be a parent that use substance and say your teenagers shouldn't. Of course, we're not necessarily saying that parents are responsible for those things, but the point is this: teenagers will do what you do and not what you say. Now, one day your teenager will sit across someone. That's point number three. One day your teenager is going to sit across someone and explain what it was like to be raised by you. So it's important that you make sure it's a story worth telling for them. If you remember, you can still recall vividly some of your experiences as a teenager. And so it's important that you give them a lifetime lesson and experience that it should be a story worth telling when they're out of their teen age. Number four, your life and marriage are your teen's first model of love, conflict, respect. The thing is, your son will repeat it and your daughter will accept it as a standard of life. So you mirror the principle, you mirror conviction, you mirror how to treat your teenagers. And the truth is, your daughters would accept them really as a standard, and you can be sure that your sons will definitely reflect them. If you're a father that beats your wife, you can be sure that your teenage son, when they grow up, are going to definitely repeat that. And your daughters would really consider them as a standard. And it explains why most women would like to, try to that feeling of, they wish their husband were like their father. It's a very important point to note in raising teenagers in the 21st century. Number five, everything you learned late in life, teach your teenagers early. There are certain things now that you're an adult, now that you have teenagers, you wished you learned them quite early in your life. You have an opportunity to teach your teenagers the things you learned late in life early enough. And it's the reason why organizations like ours, Teens Voice Academy, is to say what? We are set up primarily really to prepare adolescents for a significant and very successful adult life. And considering really some of the things that they should learn in preparing them for that journey of adulthood, we have amazing programs in our bouquet on teen coaching, career guidance, financial literacy that helps them prepare for the successful adult life. Number six, The habits you don't control become the habits your teens inherit. If you're struggling with a particular habit, whatever it is really, if you don't control and deal with them, your teenagers are definitely going to inherit such habits. Number 7, your teens don't stop loving you when you yell at them. They stop loving themselves. So sometimes they may even hurt themselves because they have this feeling that they've hurt you. I work with teenagers, like I said, and I've had to, have counseling sessions, therapy sessions, praying and intercession sessions for teenagers who have either ideated suicide, they've contemplated it, and a few who have actually committed this suicide. Often it's from what they think they did to their parent, and at times they do it because they think, if I hurt myself, my mom will love me more. If I take my life, maybe they will miss me and they will really know that I am sorry. So you want to look for better approaches really in dealing with your teenagers. Is very, very important. Number 8, be to your teen the person you desperately needed when you were their age. It is important that you reflect on when you were teenagers. There were certain people you wish you had in your life. Looking at your life back in retrospect, right now, make a list of those people you wish you had in your life as a teenager. Of course, you may be doing great, you may be doing very bad, whatever the situation is. Look at your life in retrospect. Who are those people you wish you had in your life when you were a teenager? And be that person to that your teenager today. Be their mentor, be their coach. Looking at what you could have had, you didn't have. Make that possible for your teenager today. Number 9, not everything your teenager does requires your reaction. Sometimes silence does a better job. There's a temptation because of the way the mind of a teenager is to want to actually react and respond to everything they do. Sincerely speaking, working with teenagers, they genuinely really want to please their parents. They genuinely really want to please their pastors. They genuinely really want to please that person they've come to respect and love and adore. But the truth of the matter is this: constant reaction and responding to things really may not always be the answer. So sometimes silence does a better job. Number 10, your ability to regulate your emotions will be your teenager's greatest lesson on emotional intelligence. If you look around, there's a lot of training and subject around emotional intelligence, and your ability to regulate your emotion will be your teenager's greatest lesson on emotional intelligence. Not the book you tell them to read or the emotional intelligence classes you get them to subscribe to. Are you emotionally intelligent as a parent? Are you emotionally intelligent as a teen's pastor? Are you emotionally intelligent as a teen leader? Because if you are, you will be the best lesson to your teenager on the subject of emotional intelligence. Number 11, be the calm that your teenagers run to and not the storm they run from. Because in this part of the world, especially in Africa, now let me use Nigeria as a case study. Most parents who currently have teenagers today were raised by military regime where everything really was obey the last order. And so it's important that you know that at this phase of your teenager's life, they will form a stronger pair bonding relationship with those who outside of you if you don't make yourself that calm that they require rather than the storm they need to run from. It's important that you position yourself that way and consciously make an effort to ensure that you are the calm they run to and not the storm they run for. Number 12, it's okay for your teens to be different. They are unique. They are not like every other teenagers. And the truth is, they are not like the teenager you once were. So there is a temptation to want to replicate your life in your teenagers. The truth of the matter is this: while you may maintain the same DNA, your personality types are definitely different. Their interests are definitely different. And looking at the dispensation or the generation where we are, they are probably not interested in what you are interested in or what you were interested in. So don't try to compare them with other teenagers and don't try to make them the teenager you once were. Discover their interests, discover their strength. Through the guidance of God's Spirit, discover the life that they are supposed to live and help them live there. Number 13, you can't raise a great thing without God in the picture. The most you can do is to try. If you remove God out of the equation, it reminds me of what the scripture says. It said, except the Lord build a house, they that build the labor in vain. And it said, except the Lord watches a city, and those who stay awake, they stay awake in vain. To raise teenagers or a teenager in this generation or in the 21st century without God in the picture, I can guarantee you, it's like putting water inside a basket. It's not going to get filled anytime soon. Number 14, the psalmist said, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The rod is for correction, while the staff is for direction. And so in raising a teenager in the 21st century, definitely you need the rod. Definitely you need the staff. A combination of both will bring out the best version of that teenager. And yes, we're finally here. It's number 15. Your teen needs what we call in Teen's Voice Academy a 7-star education. Now, when we say the 7-star education, we're not necessarily saying number 1 to 7. We're saying having a complete, perfect experience of the kind of education. FSC really often is based on academic education, which is number 1. The truth of the matter is this: your teenagers require more than academic education to be that successful, responsible, God-fearing teenager that they're expected to be. So number 1 really is academic education. If you're already doing that, kudos to you. And if you're not doing that, it's something you need to give attention to. Encourage your teenagers. I didn't say school, I said education. And so there are several options of learning. This time around, there's distance learning, there's blended learning that combines on-site learning and online learning. The point is this: your teenagers need academic education. Number 2, they require spiritual education based on scriptural principle. If you don't teach them, they won't know. If you would put as much effort as you put to send them to very, you can be quite specific in terms of, oh, they have to go to this standard of school. The question is this: did you place the same premium on their spiritual education like you pay on their academic education? The truth of the matter is this: no matter how the level of their mental sagacity based on academic education, when it comes to the spirituality of life, they are still going to fail. Because you see, there are only 2 places. You're either male or female. You have up and down. And the truth of the matter is this: it's either light or darkness. So it is. Life is spiritual. Now, you may argue with it. Now, I'm assuming, really, maybe we have someone who is watching this and you're not a Christian. You may argue with that and say, oh, not really, it's not a big deal. But it is. Because life is controlled first from the spiritual realm. And so it's important that you give your children spiritual education based on scriptural principle. Number 3, under the 7-star education, is industry and street education. Often when your teenagers come back from holiday, either the summer holiday or any kind of holiday, there's a temptation to want to insist that they should pick up their book. You need to remember that you didn't send your children to school to become students. You send them to school to become professionals. And the truth is, it's important that they have industry and street sense. And what would that mean? So during holiday, this is what you should do. Let them intern. Let them go for vocational school. Let them volunteer. Let them job shadow. Let them go somewhere and learn apprenticeship in line with their industry. Let them attend exhibitions that are connected to the area of their course of study. That will give them a better advantage in life rather than just first class and they don't have other form of education. Second to the last one, look at the 7-star education is self-education, and that deals with their identity, their interests, their strengths, their uniqueness, their awareness of who God has made them, their awareness of their unique strengths and ability. And last but not the least is financial education. And this deals with understanding wealth creation. This deals with knowing how to make, manage, and multiply money. The truth of the matter is this: to have a teenager that would live a successful adult life, you need the 7-star education to give them that experience. Now, this is as much as we can take on this video, and I say cheers to your great life. 𝐓𝐿 𝐾𝐄.